When you were wrong. You were way wrong on that one.
Very wrong. Let's just say I've only had to call the FBI one time on a job.
Okay. There's so many people in this industry who are like, no, that's it. We're leaving money on the table. How can you do that? Tell us about a time where your dumpster company may have disappointed you.
Oh.
Yeah, no, that was one of those things where I was just like, oh man, and you don't know how to handle it.
If you ever wonder what sets you apart, you weren't.
Today we're sitting down with Summer Brads. She is the owner of Caring Transitions of South Dayton. My introduction to Caring Transitions was we were a new dumpster company. We were looking for any jobs that we could find. Because I was using the chassis, I really didn't want to set dumpsters down if I didn't have to. That's why we had done our fill and go option. With Caring Transitions, what I had done was we kind of worked it out to where I was backing the dumpster in and I would watch them load, maybe sometimes help them. Sometimes I'd drop it off, but we were slow when we first started with them. And the first thing I noticed in dealing with Caring Transitions is the name actually describes who they are. They were very thoughtful. I watched them clear a house in Eaton, Ohio. It was a duplex, and their people would take the people's belongings, and I felt like it was obviously an older gentleman who had died. He was a golf lover, had all these trophies on his wall. They very nicely set them into boxes. I'm assuming it was stuff that the family did not want or probably gone through, but I mean, very nice and thorough the way that they did it. So they had my respect from the get-go. And I actually remember telling my wife, I'm like, I would hire these people with the way that they did this job. If you would tell us exactly who you are, tell us who your favorite vendor is while you're at it. And then just tell us a little bit more about how you guys go about doing it, how you find customers and how you expect to grow.
Sure. All right. Well, hello. Thank you for having me.
Definitely.
I'm Summer Brads of Caring Transitions of South Dayton. We are customers first with our own family going through a dementia diagnosis. And we needed help very quickly. Mm-hmm. Somebody handed us the Caring Transitions card and said, you need to call my friend. She's going to help you. Years have passed, and now we own 2 territories of Caring Transitions. We retained 8 of the original employees who worked on my in-laws' home, which is very cool. And I believe that there are a lot of people out there giving my card now and saying, you need to call my friend Summer. We've worked very, very hard to become part of the families and the community around us.
So I guess one of the things we were discussing earlier, like where you're going to market to, do you go to like nursing homes?
We do. We do. They're kind of more senior living communities now.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Sorry.
That's all right. And so absolutely, we have partners with a lot of them. And I can think off the top of my head about 4 communities who call us first if somebody needs to not only move into the community, but move internally within the community.
Okay.
So a lot of our clients will do their first initial big service, which is the full house, a full auction, of which we'll get into.
Yeah, I was going to say, I want exactly how that, we've discussed some of that, but I want the exact breakdown on how you do that.
Okay. So if you were to call me and we're talking about your mom and dad's home, my first question when I come to your home is going to be, where are they going? Where are they next? And sometimes when I come in, they've already moved. But for us, it's best if they haven't, because I have a team that will come in, sort, organize, pack them, move them, and fully resettle them. So the first night in their new home looks and feels exactly like what they just left. That is our goal. Once they've been resettled, we are going to come into the home and spend 10 business days cataloging, sorting, and organizing all the contents of the home. And then we're going to have an online auction. We have 850,000 bidders nationally that are active.
Wow.
Yeah.
So online auction, I'm stopping you right now.
Sure.
Is that a Caring Transitions only, or is that going to eBay, or how does that work?
It's ctbids.com, which is under the Caring Transitions umbrella. And it really became popular directly after COVID because estate sales are wonderful, but there are 2 main flaws. And which I can hold an estate sale. I have an auctioneer's license, but your estate sale is only as good as who shows up.
Oh, right. And
So in January,
exactly.
in January of 2026, they'd be pretty bad.
Or if people are busy, right? I mean, you do it Labor Day weekend and everybody's gone. I'm like, well, I got a great deal. I love it when you don't
Right.
have,
Yep.
when there's not a lot of people at your auctions.
Yep. So that's one. And then the other part of the online auction that's amazing is that we're showing that 70 to 75% of the small items, so under about 36 inches in a home, are being shipped out across the nation in Canada. So your bidder pool isn't regional and local.
Yeah.
It's quite literally everywhere.
Right. Well, yeah, that would be very interesting, the way you can just, especially the way society's going now with our Amazon, eBay, all that stuff.
Absolutely.
Here's a small thing that you would not consider 10 years ago that you could ship anywhere. It wouldn't be worth it. Well, it's not worth the cost of getting rid of it. But now you're able to do that, provide more value as a carrying transitions, provide more value to the family, and then you're not throwing it away,
Correct.
which I have to assume the families, that's very important to them.
Very important. And sometimes it's not even, well, we do make them money, and about 75% of our families actually end up neutral after our service, and we leave their homes empty completely. But a lot of them aren't necessarily worried about getting a check back or not getting a check back. They just don't want it to always land up in a landfill. And so we're doing a lot of donation runs, and we try to be very cognizant of what goes to you guys.
Yeah. And you do a great job with that.
Well, thank you.
I mean, we discussed on the opener. I mean, it was amazing. But I didn't know you spent 10 days typically cataloging.
10 days total. So we're in the home. We're typically doing a catalog for about 4-ish days. And then it goes live for 4 to 5 days. And then we do a pickup day and then a full and a clear out day. So 10 calendar days is our typical scope.
And I got to think there's being involved with all the different families, there's got to be some serious issues that have been there about this is important to the family. Oh, it's really not worth anything, or we're keeping all this stuff versus you got to get rid of something. I mean, I'm sure that you have ways of handling that.
So I like to say that one of the tools that you get with me is you can make me the bad guy, because what we find,
We've done that before.
we have, right? But I always say, let me be the bad guy. When we have family and we say, I really want grandma's dining room table. I love it. And let's say this grandchild lives in Louisville. Sometimes we can want something, but we don't have the motivation to actually go pick up and get it to you.
Right.
And so we say, it needs to be out of the house before our first day. And after that, it goes in your auction. And they can purchase it out and figure out how they want to do it from there.
Right.
But let me be the bad guy. Let me be the one that steps in and says, by this date, it has to be out, or we're going to control what happens.
Right.
And people find a relief to have an absolute black and white date that seems to be really actually a selling feature for them, is to let me be the one that takes over.
You had your chance to get that table.
Yep.
You didn't pick it up.
Correct.
The other thing is too, though, I'm sure you see this, is Grandpa, had this collection, or grandmas especially, because the people we're dealing with, or baby boomers, they grew up with nothing, and now they have all these trinkets, right?
Absolutely.
They're like, I've got this stuff that they want to pass down to their grandkids and their kids. I read an article about this not too long ago. They were like, Mom, I don't want your China collection. I'm sorry. It means nothing to me. So I'm sure you deal with that too on a regular basis. Yeah.
What's interesting for me is that we are going to get money back for your small items, because I have such a larger pool of people that are building it. But the argument I get constantly with like a kitchen table is, it's Ethan Allen. It's great.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is a great brand, and it is a very great sturdy table. Unfortunately, people aren't into the honey oaks anymore.
Yeah.
The style isn't necessarily what people are looking for, and it's been used for 60 years. Like, you've gotten your money out of it.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to donate it or get it to somebody else who could use it. Or maybe if you get $10 for this table, it's better than paying for me to take it somewhere.
Yeah.
And so that's a really hard conversation to have with people.
Are you having that conversation more with The person leaving, the or the daughter, and
I would say 50-50. It's
Okay.
whoever has the most sentimental attachment to something. It's interesting when I deal with, I think, elderly gentlemen whose wives have passed. They are the most sentimental by far. And they are very ill-equipped to handle what it will feel like to get rid of the items in their home.
because it's a reminder.
It's a reminder.
Yeah.
But I see the ladies are usually, they've already picked. They're a little bit more thorough. And so by the time we get there, they know what they're taking. They've come to peace with it.
Yeah.
And they're like, let's go.
Yeah, time to move on. Yeah, I can see that. Let's just go into hypothetically March.
Yep.
How many jobs will you do in March?
So March is starting to amp up. I would say we're going to have about 20 to 25 projects in March. And we're doing 2 to 3 large full home auctions every week.
So that's put you every day. You're going to a different home. I mean,
Yeah, I have over 20 full-time employees, and we're very active.
okay, I didn't know you had 20 employees. So your exact role on a daily basis, are you managing the employees, or are you going in and taking a look at homes and doing the audits and?
What I sometimes wonder, what am I not doing? Because it's my job as an owner feels very blurry and kind of I'm all over the place. I am right now doing all of our sales and consultations.
Okay.
And my husband and I will not price a job without stepping foot in the home
I
first.
don't blame you.
Because I think I've said this to you before. A 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,500 square foot. There are no two that are similar inside. And volume and density play a huge factor in how we price it, how long I need to be in the house, what a clear out's going to look like, how much is donated, how much is going to be sold. So we like to get in there.
But we don't have that much stuff.
Right? Correct. So I am doing all of those. Also, every one of our clients has my personal cell phone. And so, as you can imagine, with an elderly population who isn't really into technology, when I'm pitching an online option, when I'm talking about digital photos, nothing handheld, there's actually a lot of hand-holding involved. So there's a lot of that going on. And then networking, getting our name out.
What about back at the beginning of December when I showed up for those 2 dumpsters and there was nothing in them?
Well,
You want to talk about that?
Well, let's just say I've only
When
had
you were wrong. You were way wrong on that one.
very wrong. Let's just say I've only had to call the FBI one time on a job.
Okay.
Running a dumpster company isn't for the faint of heart. It's long hours, juggling drivers, chasing payments, all while trying to keep the next job on track. I'm Todd, owner of Pack Mule Dumpster Rentals. Trust me, I've lived every headache you're dealing with right now. That's why we built Bin Boss. It's more than software. It's a system that makes your dumpster business run like a machine. So you can handle more jobs without more trucks, let customers book online anytime, keep them happy with real timelines, and finally get invoices out before they collect dust. We haul too, and that's why this works. You want to see how it can transform your business? Bet on yourself with Bin Boss and book a demo today.
There's some things we can and can't talk about in this. Is it still an ongoing case?
Yes.
Okay, so it's an ongoing case. We'll just say, Summer said, we need 2 dumpsters at this location. We show up with first I get a phone call from my driver who said, there's a truck that's parked there. I got to put these in the street. And so okay, put them in the street. And our relationship is when Summer rents, my guys know they have to be there by 8 o'clock. If they see Carrying Transitions, it's there by 8 o'clock. And we know it's a 1-day rental. So that's our agreement. I mean, because her people get in and they get out. It's really good for both of us. So then I get the phone call from Summer. She's like, well, if you pick those up and there's nothing in them, don't worry about it. So I'm like, wait a second. So we show up, we can only get one, and there was nothing in it. My driver's like, he went there. Here's how the story goes. He went there, saw that nothing had been placed in them. And he's
left.
like, yeah, he left because he's like, I know it's Carrying Transitions. And I'm sure that something got screwed up in communication, so I didn't
He was
take
doing
it.
me
I
a
left it.
solid,
Yes,
yes.
yes, he left it. So then I'm like, what's going on? You're like, oh my God, it's awful. So we texted each other. That's how we usually communicate. And she's like, it's awful. I'll call you. Well, so this is I don't know, 3 or 4 in the afternoon. You're like, it's awful. I'll call you. I'm like, and I get busy, and Summer gets busy too. So I'm like, you know what? That doesn't sound like her. So the next morning I called. She's like, oh my God, I was being interviewed by the FBI when I was texting you, and it is bad. So we go back out. The story plays out. I don't think we're crossing any lines here. It was as bad as it could possibly be. And she's like, if there's anything in those dumpsters, you need to let me know. So we know now there's not going to be anything in those dumpsters. We show up, grab the first one. We go back for the second one, and there's a pile of stuff in there. So my driver's like, I'm not touching it. He'd been informed of what was going on. He's like, I'm not touching that. So I called you, and you're like, yes, that's been gone through. It's not evidence. You can take it. So we came back out the next day and grabbed it. But it was quite the story.
There's a lot going on there. We've had a lot of stories, but that was a situation that I was so proud of my employees for handling, because if they hadn't handled things with empathy for people in the situation, I think we handled that very, very well. And I don't think if I had used a company for dumpsters that I would have had a similar experience. I think you guys, you were just very good about what was going on. And I was giving directions left and right, just haphazardly, of what needed to happen. And you just took the lead and made things go appropriately.
Well, first off, we've done so many together, it didn't matter. We would have done whatever needed to be done, but you didn't put anything in them. So it really was just our time, and we were slow. And I think that's something that people in our industry know, that if we're slow, first we'd do anything for you guys are our best customer. We're gonna do anything for you. But even when we're slow, I'm like, it didn't hurt me to not be able to rent that dumpster to somebody, or it sat there, because I think as a business owner, you have to think about, there's so many people in this industry who are like, no, that's it. We're leaving money on the table. How can you do that? I look at it as a margin business. What margins can we make? And what we did for you, it didn't cost us a whole lot of money. And I had dumpsters still sitting in the yard to where I'm just like, you know what? As long as I can pay my guy, and we took care of the fuel, and it wasn't like I had lost opportunity.
Sure.
There was no opportunities there at all. So, and I knew you were getting hammered, so it doesn't do me any good to be like, oh, we're gonna really, you ordered a 25, you got a 25. It just didn't, that's no way to do business. So,
Well, it's funny because prior to this experience, I was thinking back of some of the stuff that we have thrown out with you, and we had a collection of Victorian aged lingerie that was
sorry,
used.
I missed that one.
And we didn't need to wash it. The amount of dentures,
Yeah,
I think, and loose teeth.
really?
And when we get
Are you
into,
allowed to throw away loose teeth?
it's funny.
Does it have to go in what's those boxes?
You tell me.
I don't know.
They go in contractor bags. That's what they do for us.
Yeah.
And then the amount of people that lived through the Depression that saved their hair trimmings from haircuts.
Are you serious?
Yeah, we get the amount of shoe boxes full of just trimmed hair. Nothing nefarious, nothing. Just I don't know.
What am I going to do with the trimmed hair?
I don't know, and I don't know that I want to know. But
What did they do with it back then? If they wanted to keep it?
well, I think they
Make it
used to
weird?
make hair wreaths, because we've come across a few of those before.
Okay.
Yep. When somebody passed away, they would use their hair to make a wreath and then hang it in their room, which now people spend a lot of money to buy those hair wreaths. So
I'm stuck. Okay. All right. Give me some other good stuff that you know.
oh goodness, there's so much. We find out what people's vices are.
Okay.
We have intimate knowledge of what people's vices are around the clock. And we have made a decision as a company that if we find things that are of personal nature, it is immediately put in a black bag and taken into the dumpster. That was their business and their business only. And
That's why we call it carrying transition.
that's right. That's their business. You can get a giggle. And, when I hear giggling in a basement or things, I'm like,
Wait a second. When you hear the giggling, and be honest, do you run down there and say?
I used to.
Okay, now you're just like,
and now I'm like, I can't. Like, I don't know. I don't know. But it's interesting what people value, I would say, and what, a lot of people will have cleaned out their house and they'll moved, or they've already done a pre-sort, and the items that sometimes they want to keep, it's entertaining.
Tell us about a time where your dumpster company may have disappointed you.
The great news is there's only one. And we've done a lot of transactions. And honestly, it wasn't really your fault. We were at a home, an old farm, that hadn't been taken care of. Let's just put it that way. And I believe that job had 7 dumpsters.
It was a lot of dumpsters.
It was a lot of
And it was right when we first got our big dumpsters, our 30s, because you had done a lot of 30s, and then I think you said it was probably not exactly, for us economically, it's not exactly what we want, and I don't know if we're getting the most out of
Yep.
the 30s based on how you were doing your work.
Correct.
So,
Yep. And I can't throw over the top of a 30 if I'm helping. So,
good point.
but we had the big guy, and it was a big driveway, wrapped around, came back to the front of the house. It wrapped around into the farm, and the driveway was starting to be dilapidated. And your poor driver, we were watching him come up, and we realized he was coming from blacktop onto a cement pad that no longer had a lot of support under it. And I dropped my Starbucks, like, I was like, no, and just crunch. And we heard it.
Yeah.
And his face went white. All of us were standing there looking at each other like, oh, no. And, but I tell you what, I called you, and you went from chipper Todd to, can you walk me through this one more time? And I was like, this could go a few different ways.
Yeah, no, that was one of those things where I was just like, oh, man. And you don't know how to handle it. But then I have you, and I forget who was with you. Both of you guys are like, we were waving, we were yelling, and I know he couldn't hear us, but we're telling him he can't drive on that. I'm just like, oh, God.
And, looking back, I don't know that he would have had any indication of what was about to happen. It was a tight space, and it was an accident, and accidents happen. But it's how you take care of your customer after the accident happens, and you guys did it.
This is my nephew driving too, and he's like, Uncle Todd, I barely hit it. I didn't even say they were yelling at me, but I couldn't hear him because the truck was so loud. And he's just like, he knew he'd messed up, but he's like, and like you said, it was an accident. He didn't know.
He didn't know.
He couldn't cut it sharp enough. From the way everybody said, I think he just barely clipped it.
Oh.
Just barely touched it, and it was like, boom, through. And you knew it beforehand is the thing. You saw it. And so, anyways. Yeah.
Well, what's funny now is that on our end, we have big, huge, tall orange cones that if we're in a situation like that, we just put them out because we have our people who are local or regional buyers, they're picking up in our communities, and it could have been anybody that happened to, honestly, that had driven at that exact spot on that pad.
Yeah. Yeah, the guy I sent out to fix it was like, it didn't matter what it was. He said, a big truck didn't help, but he's like, any of your truck, if any of them would have touched, now the other ones are smaller and more maneuverable, and we probably wouldn't have been in that position, but he's like, anything that hit that concrete was going under.
But you guys are so good about making sure, because like you have the driveway rollers, the little protectors, and there are some driveways that you don't need them. But in the cold, I've noticed that you guys put them down more, or we'll say, hey, we threw them down just to be on the safe side. And that is an extra service. It's an extra amount of money coming out of your pocket, and it's appreciated.
Well, they know, and it's not. It's from doing this for such a long time.
Sure.
You know, I have a new driveway in my house. People ask me, they're like, "Hey, do I need a driveway protection?" I'm like, "Listen, I have a new driveway, brand new, just got it this summer. I would put any one of our dumpsters on that. Or I have. I put any one of our dumpsters on that driveway. Now we make more money selling the driveway protection with you. We have that relationship, but you don't have to. I don't put driveway protection down.
But
when I
your
do it.
drivers are very careful.
Yeah.
I mean, you said we've done a lot of business with you, and we have, and we've had one tiny instance that could have happened to anyone.
We work hard. I think that you met our team. You met Charles. He's been with me since the get-go. We don't have drivers leave us. We had one last summer. We'll talk about that, and that'll get a good reaction. We don't have drivers leave us. We do everything we can to keep them. We still try to make it fun, even though driving dumpsters, it's not a, hard job. You don't wake up, at the end of the day, you're not sweating and
No, but it
tired.
could be lonely.
But that's why they have podcasts and XM radio and all that. But we really work hard. I think that's how we separate ourselves from the competition. We work hard to keep our people. And then we discuss with you our plans for going forward. I won't reveal the name yet and what we're doing, but we're going to take that part of the business that we discussed, and it will actually be 50% of the profits will go back to the employees. Well, I gotta find a way to
Got to
keep these people.
incentivize, keep them.
I have to incentivize them, and really for me, it will still have to manage it, but I'll have the infrastructure to manage it, right? We got a new dispatcher, and she's doing great. Elevated Cam to operations manager, and he's doing great. So I'll have the infrastructure to do that. So for me, it's not going to cost me anything other than I got to buy the equipment.
Sure.
But we'll have bin boss set up for that specifically. I'll set up a different account for when it goes to transfer station. It'll be its own separate business. It's not a whole lot for me to get that started. We've already done it.
Sure.
We know the blueprint and what to do. So now I can get back to them, and then I think we're going to have another teacher who's going to retire early and come over to work for us. He worked for us last summer, but those are good employees. I'm not on them. Yeah, but you're talking about how good we're doing. I train them once. I don't even train them anymore. Cam trains them. We show them what to do, show them how to do it, show them, how to log into bin boss, where they're going. We say, if you're going to carrying transitions, this is the situation. Nothing else.
Well, this is, I think, as two small, moving into medium-sized business owners, I think we can both agree that it's all about communication, expectations, and just clear parameters. And when you can put clear communication in there, everybody knows what they're supposed to be doing. And they feel safe enough to come back to you with observations they've made about how to make the process better because they're the one doing it.
And they think you'll listen and implement them if it makes sense.
Let's do it.
Instead of just I don't know, that's stupid.
Right.
And we've discussed this before on the show, and I'm going to guess you'll agree with me on this. I don't micromanage. No, I expect that you're doing your job. We have so many people, like with bin boss, you can track your driver's hours. You can track where they've been, what they're doing. I've got some guys that are like, I'd like to know how many hours that truck's running. We don't do that.
No.
I don't do it. I trust my employees 100% that they did everything that they could to deliver that done. Well, we had snow issues with you too. And we called and said, that's as far as we can go. We can't go any further.
Sure.
And you got the truck stuck that same day too. So you believe, she didn't, Summer didn't believe us at the time. And then she got 2 vans stuck. And then she's like, maybe these guys do know what they're doing.
Okay, you're right. Unfortunately for everyone.
Yeah.
If you ever wonder what sets you apart, you weren't always the only dumpster company we were using. We were playing around and trying to figure out what was the best fit for us. And you guys were constantly responding quickly back to us, which is key. That just I felt valued as a customer.
Are you telling me you were cheating on us? Is that what this is?
little bit.
Is that conversation we're having?
We weren't Facebook official yet.
Okay.
Okay, we weren't there yet.
All right, I feel
right.
better about that. Okay.
And I love your text system. That seems newer to me. But I don't have to be on a job. I don't have to bother my employees to say, is the dumpster there? Was the dumpster overweight? Where are we in this?
Yeah.
You guys are providing me all that in real time. That's something that I don't take for granted. And if I was doing my own home, if it wasn't just something where I was doing 5 dumpsters from you every single week, I would want to know, are they on their way? Where are they? If I was sending it to my parents' house to help clean out, do I need to be there now? No.
Yep.
I haven't gotten a text yet.
That was one of the things for us is when we built Bin Boss, we wanted to make sure that communication was there. The other platform that we used did some of that, but not to the extent that you're seeing
this is
it now.
wonderful.
Yeah, as I'm sure you saw, since we switched in November to the Bin Boss, you're getting more of like as soon as we scale out, you know what we weighed. That was something that we thought was important for you. And then I always say it would. One of the reasons that we really pushed it in there is because sometimes I may not do overages right away. I mean,
Sure.
when you were dealing with me when I was still driving, when I was managing.
You're doing
and then,
everything.
Yeah, so then you would have overages, right? And then
Sure.
people would be like, wait a second, I rented that dumpster 3 weeks ago and you're just telling me now? I'm like, I know, I'm sorry, I should have gotten it sooner. So we felt that was very important. But the communication thing, it's hard to over-communicate, right? I mean, it really,
I literally have in my contract, you cannot over communicate with me.
yes.
Like, tell me
Yes,
everything.
yes. So we feel like as long if you knew, there's nothing, and we don't have that relationship where I'm like, oh, Summer, I told you.
Yeah.
But because you understand the process, but there's so many people who don't understand the process, just like in your business, they don't understand how this all works. So like with us especially on Bin Boss, when you order a dumpster, well, again, you get the terms and conditions. You know not to overfill it. There's no tires, there's no paint, there's no
I
refrigerator.
usually know not to overfill it.
Yeah. I don't think.
We're ordering bigger than I think we need a lot now because I felt so guilty when your people would come and try to tarp over the top and they'd be like smushing and I just felt bad.
Okay, so, and that's one of these things I've learned where in the past I'll be like, oh, if it's a little over the top, don't worry about it. Well, they take advantage of that.
Sure, then it's
You know enough though that like if you're a little over the top, we're not grabbing stuff and throwing it out.
Yep.
I mean, it's one of those situations to where it does stink. I have horror stories about customers who are so mad about overfilling their dumpsters, and I always just tell them, I'm like, would you feel comfortable with your family riding behind that dumpster?
right.
Was that what you would want?
Sure.
We don't have any issues with you guys on that. But yeah, the
We don't
community.
need Final Destination 8 going down 675.
Right. No, the open communication though is something that we really stressed as far as the ordering.
And you
making
guys
it
are flexible. Like, not only do you over communicate, but you and I will have a game plan in place. And all of a sudden, that game plan is like the best laid plan that's right out the door.
Yeah.
And you guys bob and weave with the best of them.
We do it for you. We really. I mean, no, seriously. I'm not saying that, but when we see, because I know there's been changes. Is what Summer and I have, and now she's doing it with Cam. But she is being on a Friday. Typically on a Friday, you say next week I need this, and this. So we know it's a 1-day rental. We know what the pricing structure is. She has special pricing from us on that. We know it's got to be there at 8:00. We'll look at it online. We know how to order it. Summer, she has a credit card on file with us. She knows that, when it gets booked up, not once have I had any complaints from her about our billing.
No.
She knows when it's booked up, we're gonna run it. We're gonna be there. We're gonna get it the next day, unless there's illegal stuff in the dumpster.
Or 18 inches of snow
Oh,
and
yes.
it's minus 18 degrees.
Yes, gosh, that was a killer this year.
horrible.
So I'd like to thank you, Summer, for coming on. We appreciate it.
if somebody wants to find you, and again, I really cannot more highly push your service, where are they going to find you?
Thank you. We are honestly the first thing that's going to come up if you Google us, which would be Carrying Transitions South Dayton. But I'm looking right now. We have a phone number that goes to our call center. We'll answer it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And that is 937-490-8066. And it's Carrying Transitions Dayton.com.
Yeah, if you have somebody in the greater Dayton area and they are looking for this transitional phase of their life, whether that's they passed away or they're going to, it's not a nursing home anymore. What are we calling it?
A senior community.
If they're going to a senior community, you want to contact. If you're not in Dayton, I would recommend Carrying Transitions because it is a franchise.
Yeah.
At least look them up because I'm assuming the playbook's the same for everybody, right? On what you're supposed
Very
to do and how
similar.
you should do it.
And what's nice is like we have a lot of people that are going south, so we'll pack them up. We will get them on their way, and then I'm going to call one of my franchises somewhere else and say, hey, would you guys resettle them and get them set up while we take care of their estate here? So it's pretty seamless.